I'm here to talk about Lonap's activity update for the first part of 2013. I counted 4 members in the room who will have seen a lot of these slides last week, so I apologise if you've seen this fairly recently. This is perhaps a time to nod off or check your email, but please continue. So we had some new faces in 2012 and have our new faces in. We have already a new face for 2013. Rob joined us at the very, very beginning of last year. I don't think that's been announced at a UKNOF meeting before, so I'm mentioning it now. Rob joined us and helped us get through some 500 or so tickets that we received in the last 12 months, which is a workload much larger than we've experienced in previous years. Because we're provisioning more ports, handling more upgrades, and it was very much time to professionalise the level of service that Lonap members could expect. So Rob's joined the team as our first full-time employee, and we're very, very glad to have him on board. We also added Kelly to our team. She works for us a couple of days a week and works on the administration side of the organisation. She significantly reduced Seb's workload, who previously was doing all the invoicing. I was doing a lot of the credit control and chasing, and having Kelly on board means that somebody who is much more organised and fierce has been a welcome addition, and significantly reduced our payment pending ledger, and we're also very, very happy to have Kelly on the team. Additionally, Trev, who's been our kind host today for UKNOF, was elected onto the board of Lonap last week at our AGM. We're looking forward to the first board meeting with Trev and explaining what we do and having his input in a lot of the work that we're doing going forward. He's taken Seb's seat on the board, who retired after 9 years for arrest. You're not really meant to do a talk without an up and to the right curve, so here's ours. The membership trend is growing. We added 21 members last year. They have some nice logos, which are on the screen now. A lot of the new members that we added last year, some people take about a year to connect from expressing an interest in joining to going through the paperwork stage. Some people join very, very, very quickly. We're hoping to address that issue in the next year by having more regular follow-ups with people who express an interest. So we hope that you do come and express an interest with us nice and early and say that you're going to connect, but hopefully we're going to make it easier for people by, well, nagging's the wrong word, but we'll be certainly trying to make sure that if you have any questions, you don't languish in a queue for a year. We get you connected as quickly as we can. Last year there was a huge, significant growth in 10 gig port connections and another reduction in FE ports, which is absolutely brilliant news because it increases the capacity available on the exchange. The inner ring on this graph is the 2009 port makeup, where 10 gig ports made up 5% of connections to the exchange. Last year, 2012, you can see that actually there's over 10%, there's 13% of the connected capacity at exchange is via 10 gig connections. The 3 remaining FE ports are actually plugged into gig ports on the switch, and we think that at least one of those is a misconfigured port at the member end, so we're working with those guys to help them upgrade, because the gig port is basically free. If you're connected at 100 meg into a gig port, you can regrade by plugging into a different pod something, and you just get more capacity. There's no difference in price between 100 meg and gig. Here's our network. Last time we put a diagram up of the Lonap network, I think it was a circle of some blue Cisco switches, and we rather outgrew that network design a couple of years ago, and now we have a more elegant and capacious network built around the Extreme X series switches, which are doing really, really well for us. There are still 2 remaining 6500s on the network, which we're using for gigi aggregation, and those are being removed as part of an upgrade program, which is happening at the moment. The root servers they were introduced some years ago, and we're really, really happy to see that of the getting on for 150 networks connected to the exchange, we've got well over half connected to the root servers. We tell people to connect to the root servers unless they know the reason why they don't. So if they have a particular peering policy which precludes multilateral peering that they understand, then we we don't hassle people. It's not enforced multilateral peering, but the vast majority of people wanting to connect to Lonap want to plug in, do traffic today, do traffic tomorrow, and we advise them to connect via the route servers where available, or where possible. And people get enormous amounts of value from doing that. I've added some information about a renumbering program that we have to do in the next month or so, but that's really for members. I've left it in the slide deck so that members who look over this can see what we're doing. Now, at the AGM last week, we announced some new products, and I wanted to share those with you today. The new products were really designed because at the 2011 member meeting and AGM, we started a discussion about new services at the exchange, and whether people wanted to increase the number of services and peering opportunities that existed at Lonap. And we got two discrete bits of feedback in the room. One, many of our members said that they wanted us to encourage peering, but only inside London. Their job is to make money transferring people's bits from other bits of the country or internationally, and that's a perfectly valid view. And another half of our membership gave us a completely polar opposite bit of feedback along the lines of, but we need more value from our Lonap membership. We think that you should be doing everything you can to grow our peering potential opportunity at the exchange, which may include interconnections with other exchanges, for example. So as you can see, these are polar opposite views. And somewhere in the middle, Brandon's feedback there and then at the 2011 AGM was simply, don't break it, because what we have is working, very, very reliable. And that was also a very, very valid view. What we've done is taken that feedback from our membership, taken that advice, and designed two new products around peering at Lonap, which we introduced last week, and I'll describe today. The first is a traditional reseller program that allows networks not present in our sites to connect to Lonap via resellers. Essentially, a reseller can connect to the exchange with a 10 gigabit port or N by 10 gigabit connection, and sell parts of their capacity to organisations that sit in buildings where Lonap don't have a switch. Model's very, very simple. The reseller can sell several connections to Lonap, and also bundle other services to their direct customers, and bring several customers to Lonap and other exchange points, such as our friends next door in London, or the Irish exchange points or Amsterdam exchange point. This is a model that seems to be working quite well for small providers. The commercial model is very simple to understand. You must be a full member of Lonap to be a reseller with a 10 gig port, and sign a new reseller agreement, which is under construction. The reseller agreement binds you to require your resold customers to meet our technical standards, i.e. configure your equipment correctly and peer nicely, which is a requirement. Which are the requirements really for directly connected members too. Lonap bills the reseller for that connectivity, and the reseller bills the customer with a margin that they pass on. Now, the Lonap reseller program is different to other reseller programs that are offered because our entry-level product, the entry-level product is actually going to be a 250 megabit per second connection, where other reseller programs begin at a 100 megabit connection. And this follows the mantra that we've been trying to build since beginning, that at Lonap, when you connect to Lonap, you can have larger ports at a lower cost. And also because you can buy 100 meg into your home from a certain large cable company in the UK, we don't see the point in encouraging lots of 100 meg peering at the internet core. So the entry-level product on the Lonap connection will be 250 meg. Can we do something a little bit different, though, we thought? As well as having a traditional reseller program, what about that feedback that our members gave us about having access to more exchange points via Lonap? We thought, well, maybe we can not just run this as a one-way partner program, but perhaps a two-way partner program, and we're calling this the Lonap Marketplace. Here, a reseller who is reselling access to the Lonap exchange point can also sell access to another IXP via a pseudo wire on the Lonap exchange to our smaller members, who desire more value from their Lonap port. Let's say you have a cross-connect inside London, you have a port on the Lonap switch, you have a desire to peer at iNext maybe, but without building out or taking layer 2 services to Ireland, or AM6 without taking services to Amsterdam, for example. A Lonap member who is a reseller can use their Lonap connection to sell you access to that third-party exchange point via the Lonap IXP. Previously, it wasn't possible because when we had a pure Cisco 6500 network, we couldn't allow people to have to connect other layer 2 networks to our layer 2 because it was very, very important for us to keep that dirty international layer 2 off the Lonap network to protect the exchange and allow us to run the port security model that we used at the time. But using pseudo-wire connections over our Extreme X670s, our new connections, we don't actually see any of that dirty foreign layer 2. So it's perfectly fine for us to... we don't see the MACs, there's no CAM learning issue, and there's no port security issue because we've changed the design. It allows us to do things that have never been done before. This way, members who are looking for more value from their Lonap ports, more ability to peer in London without building to new sites or taking on new connections to resellers, can get the extra exchange points, the extra peers that they want via their Lonap connection, and we're not denying any revenue at all from the guys who want to sell layer 2 services to other countries or other towns, etc. We've found that middle path, and the feedback that we got at the AGM is that the small networks that we expected to be happy are very happy with this idea, this product. The resellers are saying, yes, this is another way that we can add revenue via our Lonap connection. It seems that everybody's very, very happy. So we're very happy as well. Marketplace is open to direct members only, and it gives you increased returns on your Lonap fees, the existing data center cross connects and router ports that you already have delivered today. It's not a replacement for any of the services that we do today. So some members have point-to-point VLANs over Lonap. It's not a replacement for any of these services which we offer today, and it's a service that. I know that this is a technical community and you'll want to first be reassured that it's a technically good quality product. We did actually spend most of last summer extensively testing different failure scenarios, different ways and creative ways that you guys will find to break the exchange. We think that we have mitigated those issues with very, very extensive testing and planning and research over the course of last summer. We've configured every type of customer connection, every type of reseller connection, and spent a little bit of money building boxes that allow us to put dirty traffic on the exchange and work out if we can protect against it. And the good news is it's a very, very well-tested and stable product that we have in the lab, and now we're going to push it live and hopefully it'll be useful to you. Pricing, we have a special 10 gig pricing promotion off the back of this. If you wanted to upgrade to a 10 gig port at Lonap or take a new 10 gig port for peering, there was a setup fee of £2,500, which is waived as a 3-month promotional rate. So if Link is up before the end of April, basically you won't have to pay the NRC of £2,500. You'll only have to pay our market leading price of £2,500 a year for 10 gig ports. That was a whistle-stop tour. I've just presented our afternoon's programme from the AGM last week in 10 minutes. So you're bound to possibly have some questions. If anything's of interest, you can grab me now, grab me in the break later. But I'd be very, very, very keen to answer any questions about anything at Lonap. I'll give that limitation.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Matthew's got a question. Have we got the mic somewhere? We had the mic.
Get my own mic, disgraceful. Two quick questions. Pseudo wire between two ports on the exchange site. Is that going to be the same for between two ports of the same member?
So at the moment, it's not limited. If you have a connection to the exchange, you're able to take a private VLAN between two ports on the exchange as a service that's been offered. I understand from the dawn of time at Lonap, and it's a popular service. It doesn't appear to be abused, and we don't intend to make a change right now to how the layer 2 VLAN service is configured between member ports. So right now you can have a private VLAN between your ports. The rules are the same as for the peering LAN, so it's one MAC address which has to be your peering router's MAC address, and we don't intend any change to that service. Lonap Marketplace is an extra service where if you have a 10 gig port, you can have it behave like a VLAN without learning, so we don't see the layer 2 that you're passing over there. We just have an input and an output port, and traffic moves, and that's an extra service and different. So they're completely different services, they're different products, even though they work on the same platform and look the same or look very similar in terms of config. But we don't intend to change that service which is offered at the moment.
Okay, and the second question was, when you do fractional commits, say 250, who's responsible for the policing of that? Would that be the reseller or the member or Lonap?
It has to be both, because you can only affect traffic flow in one direction. If I'm sending you some traffic, I can shape what that looks like. But if you're sending me traffic, I might drop some on the floor, but if it breaches a police rule, but if I don't want that extra traffic, it's you guys that have to police it as a reseller. So both parties have to police their outbound direction.
Well, I was more kind of saying, is it the reseller, the slight inside of the connection, where they police it at both sides, or would it be the responsible of the member as opposed to the reseller, and Lonap instead of the reseller, if you see what I mean?
It's the reseller that will be ultimately responsible, because if our connection agreement to the reseller says that the member is responsible, that puts a burden on the reseller to police that anyway, if we have that as part of the agreement. So, and it's not unusual for reseller agreements for Internet Exchange Point reseller programs to have a rule about policing traffic flow to match the resold virtual port capacity. So we're not doing anything different to how other guys are doing it. Yeah, both is the answer to your question, but that shouldn't be a surprise and shouldn't be different to what resellers are doing for other exchanges now.
Marvellous, thank you.
No problem. Good. Any more questions?
Okay, thank you, Andy.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.